Everyone's favorite lolcow who thinks they're somehow relevant. It's a wonder that people hate trans activists considering all they do is harass women. Kind of nuts, actually. So there was like a Discord DM leak. I don't know where the fuck it came from, but I saw Tectone's post on it. And it was a Discord leak from Nyara talking to some fucking guy that I've never heard of before. So Nyara asked, do you have anything on Powder? Like, the voice changer is pretty obvious. I'm wondering if it's also a guy pretending to be an anime girl like Red. All right, the funny thing about Nachizu Miku was it was a Jew pretending to be a Nazi, right? Like, that was why it was funny. The grand irony here is that this is a man fetishizing being a woman, asking if a biological woman is using a voice changer.
Ironic.
Like, if this was a genuine individual, they would not give a fuck if Powder was using a voice changer. If this was a genuine trans individual and not a fetishistic weirdo, genuinely would not care. And then this person replies back, I will look into this for you. I stayed away from Powder due to her being, well, hateful. Yeah, that didn't stop you guys who thought I was hateful from trying to ruin my life, so... Nyara saying, I'm just curious because it would be so funny if it's the same shit again. Makes sense. Can we just take a moment here to appreciate the solid fucking irony? Holy fuck. Dawn of Everything is a massive twat. He got some of his trans friends to watch and criticize the Leaflet versus Nyara debate. Well, I mean, I criticized Leaflet for that too. Because I was like, why would you platform someone who does nothing but harass other people? Like, that is actually insane. This is not someone you can have a conversation with. This is someone looking for things that they can take out of context to further attack you later. Like, it's not gonna go well. But Tectone coming in saying, the irony of a trans person worried about how they think Powder is a man pretending to be a girl. Irony completely lost on most individuals. And then Nyara following this up saying, I made a tweet with my conspiracy theory about Powdery early this year because we've seen many people use voice changers, etc. to grift to the right, and I thought it'd be funny. I got proven wrong and I dropped it. My bad. I'm sorry. That's crazy that Nyara can apologize to a Leheckin Chud Nazi like Powdery for accusing them of using a voice changer. But they continued to attack me after I defended them from people lying about them. That's so what's the line for which heckin' Chud Nazi you can apologize to and which one you can't? I don't know where that line is, dear trans activist. Why the fuck would anyone grift the right when the only easy thing you get from that is death threats? I would say that it would be disingenuous to not acknowledge that there are some people who do grift to the right. Like, yeah, you're going to get attacked, and yeah, it's going to be fucking rough, but if you only plan on doing it short term, you can get a giant influx of cash from people who think, oh my god, another based person? And then you can disappear into the great night, you know? Like, there are people that do that. So, this guy said 90% of this video is him spurging out about fossil fuel companies. And it's someone named Atun Shea Films saying Matt Walsh's fascist history of slavery debunked. What? What the fuck? And then someone said when your favorite YouTuber starts talking about how he cut his balls off to prevent climate change halfway through a video about Frankenstein. And I was like so fucking confused. I was like, what the fuck am I even perceiving right now? And then this guy posted a, oh my self-hatred, mass libtard suicide is approaching. I don't know what this is, but I was like, I'm gonna save this tab and I'm gonna watch it with chat.
When people ask me why I got snipped, I generally kind of gesture vaguely to fascism and climate change, and people go, oh yeah, totally understandable. But the truth is that whenever my friends and family members get pregnant, and I'm in my early 30s, so that's happening a lot these days, I get a horrible weight in the pit of my stomach. Oftentimes I'm genuinely happy for them. You know, sometimes I can even look them in the eye and say, you'll be a really great father, and mean it.
He gets a pit in his stomach because he knows he should be having children, right? Right, because he knows he should be having kids, but he's not, right? It's gonna be something healthy that he says, right?
Wrong. But there's another part of me that can't shake the idea that in 9 months, another American will come into the world.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Another ravening cannibal who will spend the next better part of a century burning fossil fuels, housing cheeseburgers, and ignoring homeless people at traffic lights.
It's easy to hate the American, but do you, climate change weirdo, have the courage to hate the Indians and the Filipinos and the Taiwanese?
Billionaires are by far the worst climate criminals, but according to Oxfam, the richest 10% of humans globally also share a considerable amount of blame for CO2 emissions.
Yeah, like people with like private jets, I would probably put on the same line as like a city in India. Just one of them. Just one.
From consumption. And that richest 10% includes just about everybody who lives in the global north above the poverty line. The role of population growth on climate catastrophe has historically been way overstated, but there's no question that this is a crisis inflicted by the haves onto the have-nots. And
this guy literally has not heard of India or China. I am genuinely confused. Why do we look at him? He is very British physiognomy. Why are we here to suffer the British?
Every single person born in the global north exacerbates the problem by virtue of the huge amount of resources that they are almost certainly bound to consume. And you can say, you know, oh, well, I'll bring up my kid to share my values and they won't do those things.
He has the very soy bone structure. I don't remember the name of that guy because I don't make it a point to remember the names of British comedians. But that guy who's supposedly like a British comedian and he looks almost exactly like this guy. And I think he's the one that was responsible for It's Current Year. I think he was that guy. Yeah, John Oliver. He looks like a fucking dollar store John Oliver, dude.
Things. And I can respect that, but that's a hell of a gamble, right? I mean, you know, you could take your kid to school every day on your bike, but if every other parent has an SUV, eventually your kid's gonna get curious and want to drive a car.
Why the fuck would I drive my kid to school on a bike if I have access to a vehicle? Why would I do that? For what possible reason would I expend extra time and effort to inefficiently bring my child to school instead of using a car? If you live like a block away, then just take the bus like all the other kids.
Right? And then what are you going to do? You know, forbid them? I mean, they're just going to do it anyway. I just don't think there's any realistic way that anybody in the global north could have a child that won't eventually cause massive harm to the planet, and probably, like most people, not even realize that they're doing it.
Is this why they destroyed the Georgia Guidestones? So that people would stop pointing at them and be like, who made these? They're ridiculous. And then just actually adopt what was on the Georgia Guidestones? Like, what the fuck does he mean by the global north? The wealthy Western nations is what he means by the global north. Like, United States, Canada, Europe. Climate organizations had a section of the rainforest mowed down to build a new road and center for their meeting in South America where they all fly personal jets. Yeah, see, that's kind of gross. He means white people, essentially. New speak for first world countries. It's the, I want to genocide white people, but I'm not going to say that out loud, so I'm going to call white people the global north.
And that's all assuming that your kid grows up to be a kind person, which is also a hell of a gamble. A lot of bullies and dumbasses walking around out there in the world. A lot of rapists, too. What if
he just said exactly what he is? What the fuck?
My pride and joy grows up to be somebody else's abuser? If I give birth to a baby daughter, then...
Wait. Why would you automatically assume that if you had a son, he would grow up to become someone else's abuser? You know that, like, as the parent, you're supposed to instill values in your children. It's not like your child is some kind of blank slate that, like, just RNGs into something, right? Like, there's always a chance that despite your parenting, they become a fuck up, for sure. That happens. They could fall into the wrong crowd. They could get into drugs, but these are through the actions they take. This is not complete RNG.
There's a 1 in 4 chance that she's going to be raped.
Usually she would end up being raped as a result of policies that you and your ilk usher in, for sure. Yeah, okay. I'm following you.
I don't like those odds. But the real kicker is that even if my child has a great life, Even if they cause no harm to others, they will still suffer. They will still die. It is unavoidable, right?
So you shouldn't have children to live a long and hopefully fruitful life and hopefully contribute something to the world because humans die eventually? What kind of logic is that? Like, maybe he hates his life enough that he feels he should have never been born. But that's kind of wild, bro. Like, what the fuck? Patchouli, thank you. You're glad this person excluded himself from the gene pool. Thank you for your sacrifice. Darwin Award recipient. This is like, I kind of want to rebrand this to like male feminist physiognomy, right? Because this is like the image of the guy where it sends off red flags. Where it's just like, this is probably a male feminist, and that's probably dangerous. This is funny because this guy had a vasectomy. Oh, thank God. Oh, that's good news. That means that he will never even accidentally procreate. I'm glad he is living up to his values.
I will be inflicting this fate upon them without their knowledge or consent, only to spring it on them when their pet goldfish dies or whatever. You know, surprise, bitch! The wages of sin is death! To me, the creation of human life is very obviously an incredibly selfish thing to do under most circumstances. And I'm not saying that we should like make it illegal to have children or whatever, but I am saying...
I'm not saying we should make it illegal to have children. What? The fact that he even has to like quantify that means he's thought about it. He's thought, how could we make having kids illegal? What is this lunatic on about? Apparently, nobody should have children because people die. And so bringing a child into the world is selfish since they'll eventually die. I feel like the selfishness comes in when you advocate for policies that flood your nation with unvetted foreigners who wish to kill you and your children. I feel like that's the selfish part.
That this is a deeply consequential thing to do, and maybe we should give it a little bit more thought than just, oh, well, that's just what people do at this age, or...
Well, people do give it a lot more thought, and that's why birth rates are falling, because people are like, I want to have a child, and I want to be able to give that child the best chance at life that they can, and I just can't afford to do that right now. And you know who doesn't have to think about those consequences? People who live off of government money. They can just have 1 million fucking kids and not think about, how am I going to feed my children? Doesn't matter, the government will take care of it.
I want someone to take care of me when I'm old, or I just want the family name to live on, as though that were anything other than vanity. On the cover page of the first edition of Frankenstein, there's...
I don't think it's merely vanity. I think part of being a human is learning about your past and what your ancestors specifically did, and wanting to carry on what your ancestors started generations and generations and generations ago. You are here, sitting at your computer, looking at a cartoon fox through a series of deliberate choices that hundreds of people going back thousands of years, their decisions have culminated in you. You are a purposeful decision. Even if it was an accidental pregnancy, they still chose to have sex, right? You are a purposeful decision of generations of people leading up to your existence. And some people find that incredibly interesting and inspiring, and they want to continue that unbroken chain of decisions that leads to even more people in their lineage. You don't think he has anything to live for, though? No core mission, no kids, no true love, no talents to contribute to the world. Kids in your family are a good mission. It's what keeps you going. And I think maybe this is like the real insidious part of like the communist propaganda that I never really took into account. Like maybe it's not just creating useful idiot good little foot soldiers. It's creating empty vessels of people. It's stripping every individual of like the soul that they possessed in order to retrain them into an empty vessel simply for communist sake. And it's wondrous to watch, because like how can you look at, like, even disregarding your own personal ancestry going back however many hundreds or thousands of years, even if you just like don't pay attention to that, think about everything that's been created, right? Think about everything humans have managed to do around the world. Think about the people that we learn about in our history textbooks, right? Whether they're real or inflated by propaganda, these are still things that like we've been taught, right? And if it's propaganda, you got to unlearn it, right? You don't want to believe in false gods, but it's just like, why would you not want to contribute to that? Why would you not want to be like, my child could do something amazing? Maybe they won't, right? Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't be like the next breakthrough scientist or the next like fucking star athlete. But that's like, you can still have them. You can still try. They will still be precious to you and your bloodline, even if they don't do something monstrously great for civilization. He is still what happens when you make political ideology your whole purpose of living. It's kind of crazy. Like, I'm not even a man, and I could not fathom people just not caring about lineage at all.
There's a quote from John Milton, Paradise Lost. It's Adam talking to God, and he says, "Quest thee, Maker, from my clay to mold me man. Did I solicit thee from darkness to promote me?" Well, with all due respect to John Milton, I think enraged children all over the world put it much more succinctly when they snap at their parents that righteous and unanswerable declaration, "I didn't ask to be born."
That's crazy. Nobody asked to be born, but we're here, and we make the best of it. That's like a crazy, I hate my parents kind of thing. And then someone else posted this video of apparently the same guy in different lighting. A liberal guy with massive YouTube channel specializing in United States history videos. "I would make it my life mission to murder every single white man, woman, or child on the continent." What the fuck?
As soon as we landed, I would use the money to bribe the bosun to look the other way while I stole all of the muskets and powder on board. And then, depending on when in the century I was landing, I would march my ass immediately to the nearest indigenous settlement, give the guns out like candy, and make it my mission in life to murder every single white man, woman, and child on the eastern seaboard of the continent.
I just don't understand why there's some white people that hate civilization so much. Like, I just, like, I can get it if you want to undo your own birth. That's cool if you want to kill yourself, but why take the rest of us with you? The least violent leftist. He thinks he's the good. Yeah, I know he thinks he's the good guy, because that's how crazy these fucking people are. I think what's even crazier is that he can go on his YouTube channel and say that if he had time machine, I'm assuming that's what he's talking about, if he had a time machine, he would murder every single white man, woman, and child. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine to say. He won't lose his channel. He won't get in trouble. Nothing bad will happen to this guy for wanting to murder all the white people. Now, if you said that about literally anyone else, you would be banned so fucking fast. Banned and canceled, no more sponsors, you'd be fucking done. Watching this is giving you a mass murder manifesto energy, you know, probably in a few years. Probably the most surreal home health care office we've seen yet. Zara Home Care, run out of a trailer, billed main care for $233,392.39 in 2025. After filming this video, we were able to get in touch with the owner, not through the listed phone number on the sign, who told us the business did not have a permit. He also told us they only have one client. But good news! They're hiring! Knock,
Hello?
knock. Oh, look at that professional time sign on the door.
Hello? It's almost like a learning center sign.
I think you mean Leering Center.
According to their hours, they should be here. Let's check this home and ask some questions. Good morning.
They just put the old people inside the trailers so that we don't have to hear their screams.
All right, so we're in Windham, Maine, Friday morning. Probably the most surreal thing that I have found since we've started doing home health care. We've got Zara Home Care LLC being run out of a trailer in Windham. Once again, the zombie offices, but see, this is a zombie office on wheels now. Like, it's a mobile zombie office because hours are posted, home health care, nobody's home, Nobody answers the phone.
Every time I hear on wheels, I immediately remember when my mom lived at a long stay motel, and the lady that lived in the room next to my mom was a prostitute, but she would like, well, I guess an escort, same thing either way. She would like drive to her clients instead of her clients driving to her. So my mother called her Meals on Wheels.
In a residential area, we've got cars over here with no plates on them, and they're billing your tax dollars for home health care out of the trailer. So
cash register jump
zombie
scare
on wheels. We're out here investigating home health care, mobile home health care, and look who drives by.
And I think what's really sad is, like, this is a cute little fucking house in Maine. It's like a cute little cabin, man. Why scammer? Takes care of them on the road, you see. It keeps the cops off the scent and lets them be registered in multiple states. Fucking Uber Meets, no.
Barbara, so, what are you, door knocking for your state rep campaign? So this is your district?
This is my district, yeah.
Barbara, what the hell is going on here?
I don't know, I saw that the other day and I'm thinking, a camper with a home health care? And one of my constituents actually pointed it out and said that there were like 0 footsteps to the camper all winter long in the snow, and it doesn't look like there's much business going on there.
Well, you know, you as a state rep, you know, we've talked about, you know, even in the halls of
They can get away with this, but you can't even be a gnat's hair off on your taxes or the IRS will fuck you. I think that's one of the most infuriating things. How can these foreigners scam the system for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, in like healthcare scams and tax scams and like autism center scams and daycare scams, and yet I accidentally underestimate a penalty for underestimating my income for the year because I haven't made it yet. And they're just like, whoopsie, you have another penalty for underestimating the penalty for underestimating your income. Like, it's so fucking stupid. I want to burn down the system metaphorically.
We've seen our reporting, you know, there's massive fraud in home health care. I mean, so what's your initial reaction to this?
I mean, any fraud, healthcare, insurance, money laundering, it's money that's being stolen from the main taxpayer. So we need to get a handle on these things. And if there's fraud, we need to address it because people are struggling to stay in their homes with the
crazy taxes. You're more surprised this wasn't towed for not being moved for 30 days. That is dependent on your town or your county. Right. So like when I was looking at houses, there are some towns or counties that are just like, you cannot have any movable structures on your property at all. Right. So like if you're going to move into a really nice area, let's say, and you want to put like a camper on your property, you're not allowed to, because that will devalue everyone's property around you. So you have to look into like the rules around where you live. Some places allow it. Some places are just like, yeah, we don't care as long as it's not visible from the street. Like you can put it behind your house. Who cares? Some places are like, you can't do that at all. Not being able to park a camper on your own property. What kind of communist HOA bullshit is that? Not so much communist HOA, but it's like, we can see your camper from the street and that's unsightly and low class and they're not wrong. So I don't technically disagree, but it's just like, it's really funny when you think about it. Your town is like that. You park your van in the backyard to unload 30 bags of mulch and the fucking city took the time to come harass you and tell you can't park there. Your own backyard? That's crazy. That's crazy. Sometimes you support the anti-camper rules. Yeah, those like city or county rules are put in place so that your neighbor's yard doesn't turn into the redneck crack yard, right? They're not gonna have like 5 project cars, a like camper on cinder blocks, a front yard full of scrap metal, right? They're trying to prevent that kind of thing from happening.
taxes,
Right.
prices of health insurance, and the results of
People.
practicing.
I mean, the more we dig into these things, the stranger they get. I mean, I think Maine has a real problem on their hands with this thing. And I think it's been a lack of oversight has just allowed this thing to balloon. So, God bless you.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
I didn't
All right,
know.
so we were trying to leave the property and had the fortune.
Like, look at this! Look at this! Look at the fucking spare lumber in the yard and the bricks just laying there and the trash and the fire pit isn't even usable because of the trash. Don't do this!
The mail came by. U.S. Postal Service was delivering mail, so I asked the nice mail lady, I said, hey, have you ever delivered any mail to this place? The answer was no.
That's true. The Somalians are appropriating the redneck culture.
Never received any mail that she's delivered, and this is her normal route. So, mobile home health care, phone number that you can't get anybody on. Nobody's here during the posted business hours.
If they don't get any mail, how are they able to scam the government out of hundreds of thousands of dollars by billing main care? Like, what? How? What? Shouldn't they have any kind of mail?
And they don't even get any mail. So, check back with the main wire for more updates.
I'm watching in 480p and I can still tell those tires are flat. This is what chat was defending. Prior to this location in Wyndham, there was a Zara Home Care registered to 68 Bishop Street in Portland. They billed $383,593 between 2023 and 2024. 68 Bishop is a zombie home care cluster that we have visited several times, including in this video on 5-star home care. Amazing update, taken less than 24 hours after the video was posted, they put up a no trespassing sign. That's funny. No trespassing. We must continue to scam you, dear Maine citizens. That's insane. They use the fire pit to burn the trash and the lumber is going to warp and then be abandoned long before used. You helped clean up a family friend who lived like that but was also a hoarder. Don't defend that RV. Look at that, man. Like this, I thought it was a fire pit area, but I guess it was a fountain area. This could look so much better. This could look so fucking cute. Have you ever wanted a pet, but the responsibility of remembering to feed and water something alive is a horrifying prospect? Get your very own Korsche today. This little guy is too low IQ to understand it's not alive. Do you already own the Conco's My Little Padded Room Magical Girl Kirsche plush? Well, get this companion Korsche to keep her company. Or maybe you just want to commit war crimes with a reliable partner who won't snitch to Interpol about your dastardly doings. Get your Korsche today. The Korsche will continue to love you, no matter what. Except if you try to do it. Do not the Korsche. The Korsche is for loving, eating, and war crimes, not for doing. Buy a Korsche for your Korsche so that they don't get lonely inside your walls. Korsches are valuable employees of Korsche Mart, and if you find a Korsche reverted back to a Kirsche, please call 1-800-KORSCHE now to have her return to her original residence. Korsches are also an endangered species due to severe retardation, overeating, and excessive use by world powers and military conflicts. Please know that owning a Korsche does not give you the right to do it. The feds are listening to your every move. If you or a loved one has been assaulted by a Korsche, contact authorities immediately, as you will not make it. You can buy your very own life-size Korsche or a Korsche for your Korsche starting May 8th at 3 p.m. EST through June 5th at 8 p.m. EST. Get yours now before they escape and are gone forever.
Brooke has found out that we've got 355,000 people on SNAP benefits receiving double benefits.
That's a lot.
We've got 186,000 dead people getting SNAP benefits. 186,000 dead Americans getting food stamps right now. Now, I know the fake news media is going to say that the big headline from this speech is J.D. Vance proposes that we take away food stamps. That's what they're going to say. I actually think that we should take food stamps away from dead people. I'm guilty of that. I think that's a reasonable thing.
Based.
I also was talking to Brooke backstage, and she said, you know that there are people who have this is not a joke. There are people who have Lamborghinis who currently receive SNAP benefits. I said, huh.
I feel like if you have a Lamborghini, you should not have SNAP benefits. Hot take.
That's interesting. You know, I'm a pretty conservative guy, but I would think that like 95% of the United States of America would agree that if you are wealthy enough to afford a Lamborghini, then you are wealthy enough to not receive SNAP benefits from the American people. Is that common sense?
You would think so. But how are they gonna buy their Lamborghini if they have to buy groceries like everyone else? They're special, don't you know?
And I could go down and down the list. We just served 22 investigatory procedures. The Department of Justice.
Yet you lose your job and try to get help while still looking for a new job and can't get help. The systems were created for people who needed temporary help, and now the people who need help, whether it be on food stamps, whether it be temporary unemployment, whether it be fucking some kind of welfare, whether it be VA benefits, the people who genuinely need these things have the hardest fucking time getting them, while so many people defraud the system. And it works! And the people who defraud the system get continuously rewarded, while you, who might need to use it temporarily, just get fucking shafted.
Fuck the Somali and Latino communities. I'm about the American communities. I'm about America, son. So, while you're trying to divide us further, I only care about the left-handed Somalis. You know what? Fuck the Somali.
And he's completely correct. There should be no pandering to Somali or Latino communities in American politics. And a police officer, especially, should have the, purview of, yeah, I'm about Americans. Americans who are here. That is who I serve. That is the correct attitude to have. He's, no hyphenated American, bro.
And once you get children, you also think about where you want to raise them, especially if you have a daughter. I don't think Germany is a good place to raise a daughter anymore, because women in general, they don't feel safe anymore walking down the street at night. You don't have to take it from me. There's public petitions in all major German cities. Women want vouchers for free taxi rides at night. In Berlin they want to have women-only subway wagons. And the stories you hear in Berlin, what women have to endure in public transport, it's fucked up. It's fucked up, to be honest. You all know the reasons why it is like that. I don't have to talk about it.
I don't know if he can even talk about it in Germany. He might be arrested for wrongthink, man. Most masculine European. Hopefully this guy is voting for AfD. I have no idea who he's voting for, but it's hard to conceptualize a first world country like Germany, right? Germany and France and the UK and the US, all of our countries were relatively safe in our lifetimes. All of these countries have fallen into mass hellhole pits of rape and murder in our lifetimes. This wasn't this wasn't an incredibly long drawn out process like the communist subversion in general. All of this incredible danger started and exploded in our lifetime. It's fucking wild how quickly all of these countries became unlivable shitholes.
But the fact is, women in Germany don't feel safe anymore, for good reason. And deciding to raise a daughter in Germany is it's not a good thought to have, you know. You want to keep your people safe, children safe, that they grow up in a friendly environment where they can feel safe any time of the day. This is just my opinion. But if a woman can't walk down the street at night and feel safe anymore, you have failed as a society, as a country. That's just
yeah, pretty much.
And it's kind of ridiculous. Every time something happens in Germany, politicians will just say, we have a knife problem. Knives are killing people. Women are dressed wrong. They should dress differently. And it's not a small thing, but you can also see it in the small things.
Oh, he brings up the Cologne mayor. This is absolutely just burned into my brain. During peak migrant crisis in Europe, there were tons of people. I can't remember if it was a Christmas thing or what, but there were a bunch of people at something, and there were 90 violent robberies and stuff. There was one rape reported, a bunch of sexual assaults, and the mayor was if women want to stay safe, they should start keeping people at arm's length and only leaving the house with a male escort. And it's just what? What the fuck kind of country are you living in where you even think that's reasonable advice to give to someone? As a woman living in a first world country, I should be able to leave my house with a relative expectation of safety. What are we doing here?
Can't go to the supermarket anymore without feeling we're living in a crime-polluted society. Like in Prenzlauer Berg, one of the best neighborhoods in all of Berlin. If you want to go and buy shampoo or a cream, you go in a drugstore, DM. You have to go in many of the drugstores in Berlin to the cashier to get them so they unlock the products because they get stolen so much.
That's insane that the locking up of the products is happening in Germany now. This is This was like normal? This is normal in the US. Ghost of Aces, thank you. Unless Europe has a crusade defensive against Islamic nations and removes the ability for people to vote that evil back in, Europe is lost. I'm wondering how much about the crusades has been rewritten, as it were.
Even in the Edeka, in like a normal supermarket, they're locking up alcohol, they're locking up Red Bulls, things that cost $1.50. They're putting security things on them that need to be unlocked at a cashier. What kind of society is this becoming? Another example is Christmas markets. Last year, there have been a few Christmas markets who got cancelled because they can't afford the terror.
I still remember there was like a tweet where someone's like, no one's stopping anyone from celebrating Christmas. And I think it might have been JonTron that responded with like all of the headlines of the terror attacks at Christmas parades and shit.
Defense anymore because it's too expensive. It costs millions of euros for big Christmas markets to put those barriers, terror defense up. And if Christmas markets, the place of joy, the one thing people look forward to in December when it's cold and ugly outside, if they get cancelled because they can't afford terror defense, many things have gone wrong in this country. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to blame this on migration. Migration isn't a bad thing per se. It's just...
I'm hoping this is just the I don't want to get arrested by the German police talking right now.
There's gonna be a few people who are doing stupid things and you have to select them out. But Germany is
It's a little
doing
kiwi.
an extremely bad job at that. One of the bigger problems regarding that is that even if the people...
You see, almost 2/3 of all planned deportations fail. You know what would make it so no planned deportations fail? If we have strong men in government who say, I don't really care about your progressive tears, Margaret. The migrants are going home.
Come to Germany to look for a refuge, they get denied. And if they are from certain countries, which are considered not safe.
How does a deportation fail? The same way that the deportations are failing in the US. Liberal judges keep blocking deportations because they want to keep the criminals here.
Germany cannot send them back, even if they are not allowed to stay in Germany, if they're not granted permission to live, to become a resident, to work here, etc. So you have this huge group of people from refugees who come to Germany. Their permission to be here got denied, but they can't be deported to their home country because it's not safe there. So they can't work here, they can't do anything here, but they are here because they're kind of in limbo. And that creates a lot of problems because they can't be part of society, they can't...
And again, if there was a strong leader, that strong leader would just send them back home. And that is what we need. And that is what I hope Rupert Lowe is going to do for Britain. I hope we get someone like Rupert Lowe in the US, because good lord fuck, we need them. You lived in Berlin for a few months last year, and all you saw were locked up Pokemon cards. What the heck?
Integrate, and some of them, of course, cause some trouble. It's also understandable that if you are in this limbo, you get a lot of resentment because this country didn't accept you.
We all say cuck, but this guy can literally have the police kick down his door and put him in jail. I haven't called him a cuck. I said this is probably how he has to talk about the migration because he might get arrested for it there. He'll be shanked to death by vibrant diversity. All if he doesn't watch his mouth. Literal Marxist and communist shit. Yeah, it's crazy. I would absolutely not want to live in any European country based on like their speech rules. It is terrifying as an American to see what a European can get arrested for. Eiffel Tower's Christmas celebrations were canceled due to terror, one of the biggest Christmas celebrations in the world. But sure, we can celebrate it just fine. That strong leader would be assassinated by the world government, let's be honest. I don't know. Rupert Lowe has been fine thus far. Trump is the one who's had so many assassination attempts thus far. And Trump is not even going as hard as Rupert Lowe has on rhetoric. Gabriel, thank you for huffs. Why don't they move to the prosperous Muslim countries? I wonder. It's almost as if the whole point was to conquer Europe. Almost as if they told you that themselves. European countries that are more to the east are not this bad. Yeah. Well, I feel like you'd probably have a bit of a hard time reintroducing communism to old commie bloc countries. I have a feeling like Slavic nations would rather put you down than let you become another communist leader. So, I've only ever seen like smart detection stuff in hotels where like you get a hotel room and you go in and it has like a fully stocked mini bar, but if you pick up like a Red Bull or a pack of M&Ms, it like automatically charges your room, right? So apparently they make vending machines like that for outside of hotels. And so you swipe your card to buy like one product and a normal human will take out the product that they wanted. But people try stealing from these, not realizing that their card will be charged for everything they lift out of the machine. I'm actually going to mute this one because that's probably DMCA. So let's put on my music. $342 in a couple of minutes. He restocked this machine 5 days in a row. $327 in 2 minutes. $541 in 5 minutes, dude. They think they're robbing you. Meanwhile, they're just fine, upstanding, paying citizens. You know, they're probably going to go to the food bank with all of this, right? That's so kind of them. $797. They hustling, I'm hustling, we all hustling. $7,242 from one machine in 1 month. That's crazy.
Some young adults wiping me out. What they paid, they didn't steal, they paid. Ready for the next round, the next slot machine. Jackpot.
And it's like, that is crazy fucking smart. If you know you're in like a high crime area, you could make so much fucking money off of people stealing from these. Oh wait, so his hustle is just crime? His hustle is people think that they are stealing from him, but they're actually just paying for everything. Vending machine users could be here. Chargebacks or stolen cards. I somehow think that a chargeback wouldn't happen. How are they being charged? So in order to access the machine, you can kind of see it here. There's like a credit card reader thing. In order to open the machine, you have to swipe your card. You wouldn't be able to put these in like back alleys because they could just smash the glass, but they're not going to be able to do that effectively in a place like this where it's well lit inside a building, etc. And I feel like the actor Idris Elba has an idea on how to stop knife attacks in the UK.
The truth is that kitchen knives are perhaps 25% of the knives used in most of the terrible crimes. That's one of the stats in the films. And those kitchen knives are usually a domestic situation.
Are they?
Okay.
Are they?
So kitchen knives, of course, it's very difficult. They're a domestic knife. I do think there is
a domestic knife as opposed to a wild knife? Like what? We've domesticated the knives. They're no longer killing people.
There is areas of innovation that we can do with kitchen knives. I hate to say it, not all kitchen knives need to have a point on them. That sounds like a crazy thing to say, but actually it would reduce. You know, you can still cut your food without the point on the knife, which is an innovative way to sort of look at it.
Yeah, let's just remove the point from knives instead of addressing the actual criminals. What the fuck kind of retardation am I listening to?
And in a country in crisis, I'm sorry, but yeah, let's look at that. But the truth is, all knives, you know, the loophole on the heritage.
All knives matter.
Knives allows the sale of ninja swords to be sold. So while, you know...
that's true. Them rascally Japanese ninjas committing knife crime in the UK.
You know, you've got your granddad's sword on there and you want that, that's fine, of course, but it is leaving a loophole for someone to carry a ninja sword. So let's...
Yeah, you know, all of these years, we've been talking about how the UK has a ninja problem. That was actually a joke about how Muslims look like ninjas because of all the, like, full body costume. That was actually a joke, Mr. Idris Elba. They're not actually ninjas. They're not carrying around ninja. They're not Japanese. I don't know if you know this. I know you guys call them Asian, but they're not Japanese ninjas, bro. The Japanese are not responsible for your knife crime.
So let's ban them all. And if you have one of those knives, get a license for it. Simple as that. And I think it's a small contribution to society if you say, all right, I'm going to back that. I'll get a license for my granddad's sword because it is leaving, you know, these kids vulnerable.
Why should I have to get a license for my grandfather's historical sword hanging on my wall? Because some foreigners can't help themselves but have a knife emergency and need to stab white people. I just know, what the fuck are we doing here? You've heard someone say that knife crime statistic in the UK is from domestic cases. You're guessing they categorize a lot of assaults like this to create this image, even if it's not accurate. Yeah, I would believe crime statistics coming out of the UK as much as I would believe them coming out of China at this point. It's like, it's so just subverted by commie gobbledygook. I could not imagine them accurately reporting on crime. It is straight up illegal to own a curved blade longer than 50 centimeters in the UK. Cheap wall hanger katanas are illegal. That's crazy. Perhaps the UK should deport the ninjas. Violent men are ganging together to promote attacks on the women who reject them. Vengeful men on social media are staging punches, simulating stabbings, and pointing firearms at the camera phones, which they call training in case she says no. The she in question, women who reject their romantic advances. While the videos online are being framed as dating satire, advocates against domestic violence fear for the trend could help normalize violence against women, as evidenced by the shocking real-life events. Praticando caso ella diga now. I have a feeling that's not English. I have a feeling that's not English language. 20-year-old Alana Rosa from Brazil rejected a man at her gym, Luis Felipe Sampaio, who had reportedly been bombarding her with gifts. After she repeatedly refused his advances, the accused allegedly broke into her home in São Gonçalo, near Rio de Janeiro, and stabbed her nearly 50 times before being stopped by her mother. That's crazy. That's crazy. That man was fucking unhinged. If you're getting bombarded with gifts even after you already reject the guy, it's probably time to call the police, because he's probably specifically an individual nutcase. She was then rushed to the hospital and underwent several reconstructive surgeries while in an induced coma to recover from her injuries. Miraculously, Rosa survived the attack, and her mother, Guadaluce de Oliveira, hey, Tyler Oliveira, I didn't know he had a Brazil last name, told local officials that the attacker followed similar content online, a detail that alarmed investigators and the public alike. I feel like we're starting to have a real problem with people who are under the IQ threshold to understand the difference between fiction and reality, having access to social media and the online content creation sphere in general. Because when people who don't understand the difference between fiction and reality consume things meant to be fictional and jokey, even if they're dark jokey, they will say, oh, this isn't fictional, this isn't a dark joke, this is what I should do in this scenario. And that's a problem. With her supporters in tow, Rosa attended the first criminal hearing against Sampaio on April 15th. I think he should stay in prison forever, but I know that won't happen, De Oliveira told AFP reporters during a press hearing on the day of the trial. That's really depressing that even in Brazil, she's just like, yeah, I know he's not gonna get that much of a punishment. That's crazy, because he absolutely should. He's unhinged. Rosa's story is just one example among many in Brazil. More than 1,400 women in the country died at the hands of a man in 2025 alone, according to the Ministry of Justice and Public Security, surpassing the previous record in 2024. Here's another one that says, Yo bragtizando por si me dicen que no. I don't know how to pronounce things. I'm butchering it. The concept of femicide was codified into law just 10 years prior. Nevertheless, a study from the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro revealed 123 YouTube channels based in Brazil that promote misogynist rhetoric, boasting a combined total of 23 million subscribers as of 2024. The dangerous meme, circulating predominantly among men in Brazil on TikTok, depicts violent training tips to use against women who say no. Adding insult to injury, the trend went viral just as women around the world were celebrating International Women's Day on March 8th. This is literally a guy, like, with his girlfriend making the joke. Me practicing for if she says no when I propose. She is in on the joke. They are joking, bro. And it's like, I'm sure you're gonna get a couple of retards who are in here being severely honest about this being their actual opinion. Like, how dare that femoid say no to me? Doesn't she know how great I am? Right, I'm sure there's a couple of those fucking unhinged retards. But there's always unhinged retards and every kind of thing like this, man. Jokes are not allowed. We're all working meat automations. I don't like that. So are they going to accuse random incels for the behavior of psychos in Brazil? It feels like this is a veiled, like, we need more surveillance on the internet thing. Look at what these crazy men are doing. They're promoting killing women, which isn't what's happening. Experts say this trend reflects a society in which men feel entitled to women, feeling justified to enact violence upon the women who refuse them. Yeah, sure, there are some men that feel that way, and they're fucking retarded. They're not listened to by nearly anyone. I would say, like, maybe the one example of one of these kinds of men that has any kind of platform is, what the fuck, that gay guy who pretends he's straight and gives male advice. What's his name? What's that fucking guy? He's just like a complete fucking retard. He's kind of brown and bald. Yeah, Andrew Tate, thank you. I was like, Andrew Tate's really the only one I can think of that might even fall into that category off the top of my head. It's all about hierarchy, and women are positioned as controllable. Professor Fiona Macaulay, an expert on gender violence in Brazil at Bradford University, told the Daily Mail, if women were controllable, none of our countries would be in the position they are right now. The idea that women should have equality is treated as somehow threatening. This bitch crazy. She went on to implicate the country's hard-right former president, Jair Bolsonaro, who espoused hyper-masculine and machismo values. Trianando, fracaso ela de ganhar no pedido de casamento. I don't know what that means. This article is full of lies made to take a jab at the Brazilian right wing. Don't have anything remotely close to Andrew Tate. It's just like, this comes off as jokes to me. And I'm pretty sure there was a TikTok trend of women doing something similar for if he says no, just like a few months ago. Brazilian officials over cybercrime have recently launched an investigation into the videos, citing concerns that they may incite violence against women, and also asked TikTok to remove the content while preserving user data linked to the account. According to the Straits Times, I hope TikTok doesn't do that. Despite removals, officials reported that variations of the trend have continued circulating across social platforms. Can you imagine making this joke with your girlfriend about, like, kicking her in the taint if she rejects your proposal? And then the police show up at your house asking if you're, like, a violent, womanizing, woman-beater individual? And your girlfriend is just there, like, completely confused, like, we were making a like, he already proposed, man. Like, what? She posed for it. I'd be so fucking confused, man. And I quote retweeted this the other day because it's like, I'm sorry, maybe I'm getting old, but I don't think attempted murder is a Quirk Chungus social media challenge. What are we doing here? And this kind of goes back to, at a certain IQ threshold, people are quite literally unable to tell the difference between fiction and reality. I do not believe that these are videos or movies or video games causing these people to be violent. I think these are people who need to be insulated because they do not have the intelligence to understand the difference between fiction and reality. Normal people should not have their social media or their movies or their TV shows or their video games censored because there are some people who are completely unable to act like a normal individual. And just like we were talking about earlier with, like, fucking city ordinances, this makes me terrified because we all know that they're not going to address the actual issue and they're going to promote clamping down on everyone, censoring everything because a handful of people are too low IQ to understand the difference between fiction and reality. I don't want that. I do not want to see that in any way, shape, or form. So this kind of thing terrifies me. Not because people are being influenced by a TikTok so-called trend, but because people who are too low IQ to consume this kind of thing are able to consume this kind of thing and then act on it because they think it's real. You agree with Hillary Clinton? They're super predators with no conscience? True, Hillary Clinton is correct. Rare Hillary Clinton W.
Disturbing TikTok trend is now at the center of a deadly stabbing in Times Square. Police sources tell us a 17-year-old suspect claimed the random attack was part of an online challenge. Well, tonight the victim's sister is speaking to Naomi Ruckham about the brother she lost.
I can't call my brother up. I can't text my brother. I can't hear my brother's voice again.
For Catalina,
all of us are literally being held hostage by the bottom of the barrel, lowest common denominator, because our politicians and our so-called justice system refuse to do anything about these kinds of individuals. I bet this guy had priors, man.
Baez, the pain is still hard to process. Her brother, Leonidas Baez, was killed in a random attack in the heart of Times Square. Police say just before 11:30 Monday night, 3 people approached Baez on West 43rd Street while he appeared to be sleeping. Surveillance video reviewed by investigators shows the group waking him up before one of the suspects chased him into an alley and stabbed him to death. But that's not how Catalina wants her brother, a father of 2, remembered.
I also kind of want to question why a father of 2 was like sleeping rough in New York City instead of being with his children. I don't know. That's a question I have.
Super happy, really intelligent, loved to study, loved to read.
17-year-old Jaden Sanchez was arrested and charged in the attack. According to police sources, Sanchez told investigators he and his accomplices picked Baez as part of a TikTok trend, targeting unhoused individuals or people addicted to drugs. But Catalina says that does not describe her brother.
He wasn't homeless. This is the lifestyle that he wanted to live. He was a hippie, you know? He lived the Bob Marley life, just wanted to be free.
Knowing that this was part of a social media trend, how does that feel?
It's disgusting.
This isn't the first case of its kind in New York, just in the last few weeks. Late last month in Binghamton, 5 teenagers were charged after police say they beat a man on the street who later died. Investigators in that case also say the attack was tied to a similar social media trend.
I just like... I don't like that they attribute these to social media trends. Because I read the news. I don't really hear too many people killing another human being for a social media trend. And I feel like if you're going to go out and participate in a so-called social media trend that winds up in you killing someone, you don't understand fundamentally that people die when they are killed. And that is a horrific place to be at. Like, these are individuals who should not have access to social media. They do not understand that it's not real. TikTok was a mistake. You saw the trend of teens going to prom and using the audio of Charlie Kirk's assassination as a transition into their prom outfits. That was also fucking weird. Like, what the fuck? What kind of a trend is that? The do it for the Vine murder trend?
Back in Times Square, investigators say Sanchez is also accused of slashing a man near a Midtown newsstand the night before this deadly attack.
So what you're saying is that he was known to police and for some reason wasn't taken into custody?
Catalina saw Sanchez in court Friday and says she's still trying to understand how someone so young could allegedly do something so violent.
Obviously, I'm hurt more than anything. Because why would you take someone who is loved by so many people?
In Times Square, Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
And it's like, I would like to hope that 17-year-old who killed this man goes away for fucking ever by the death penalty, because he killed someone. And I agree, Repult. They're probably just telling him to call it a social media trend because only someone truly incompetent would do that. Therefore, they can get him off scot-free on an incompetence plea. And I just don't think that should be the case. We really need to review incompetence rulings. If you are ruled incompetent, it should not be a get out of jail free card. It should be a go directly to execution card. It is a you are not fit for society and we are going to take you out of it for the safety of everyone else. This article, teen charged in fatal stabbing that police say was inspired by TikTok. Police said the teenager Jaden Sanchez was motivated by a social media trend to attack Leonidas Baez, who had been sleeping on the street. 17-year-old boy was charged on Thursday with murder in connection with an attack on a man in Times Square that the police say was motivated by a social media trend. Jaden Sanchez was arraigned on Thursday night in Manhattan Criminal Court and charged with second-degree murder, assault, robbery, and several additional charges relating to the attack and a slate of other recent offenses. The police had been seeking Jaden since Monday when he and 2 other people confronted Leonidas Baez, 39, who had been sleeping on the street, as a part of a TikTok trend where users record themselves messing with crackheads, the police said. According to prosecutors, the harassment turned violent after Jaden drew a knife and chased Mr. Bales before stabbing him in the chest. Mr. Bales later died at a hospital. Jaden was arrested on Thursday morning after transit officers caught him jumping a subway turnstile at the Stillwell Avenue station in the Coney Island neighborhood of Brooklyn and discovered he was also wanted in connection, that he was wanted in connection with Mr. Bales' killing. They also found and confiscated a scalpel that he had been carrying. So they even admitted here the TikTok trend is messing with crackheads, not attempted murder. And so it feels like a certain level of intelligent being will be, messing with crackheads. If they attack me, I can kill them and it'll be self-defense. But what they fundamentally don't understand is that if you start the confrontation, it is not self-defense when you are the one who started the confrontation. So that's where the severe lack of ability to think comes into play here. Though he is a minor, Jaden's case was heard in criminal court on Thursday. On Friday, he had his first hearing in the youth part of the state Supreme Court in Manhattan. Prosecutors say they plan to file a motion to prevent his case from being moved to family court, where cases involving defendants under 18 years are typically prosecuted. On Thursday night, Jaden sat handcuffed and squirming on a wooden bench in a Manhattan courtroom, repeatedly dropping his head between his knees and then raising it to the ceiling as he awaited the proceedings. At one point, Jaden told the detective accompanying him that Mr. Bales had escalated the confrontation. At another, he said he had prayed for him. Mr. Bays, who the police said is originally from Worcester, Mass. Wait, that's not how you spell it. Hold on. Had been passing through New York City on his way to Florida on the night he was killed. Prosecutors said during the hearing on Friday. What? That's kind of weird. Internet Zen Master, thank you. Messing with crackheads. I beg your finest effing pardon. What kind of Darwin Award-esque TikTok trend is that? I think that most of us have it on point where this isn't actually a TikTok trend. I think I did read an article once, like months ago, where someone tried interviewing some crackhead and the crackhead was just like, get the fuck off my tent. Get the fuck away from me. And then the crackhead would like repeatedly hug the lady trying to interview her to get her to go the fuck away. It's just like, just leave the crackheads alone, man. That's like asking for the Darwin Award, dude. Mr. Bays, who I keep calling him Bales. I guess the name just makes me think of the VTuber, my bad. Who they described as a hippie wanderer had fallen asleep on a ledge at West 43rd Street, close to Times Square. About 2 hours later, just before 11:30 p.m., he was roused from his sleep by a group of teenagers, including Jaden, who surrounded him and threw a bag of his belongings at him. The group began jeering at Mr. Bays, harassment that Jaden later told investigators had been inspired by the TikTok trend, and Jaden soon motioned for Mr. Bays to come closer. The man, apparently sensing no danger, skipped towards the group, and as he did, Jaden threw a cup filled with urine at him, prosecutors said. As Mr. Bays fled, Jaden pulled out a red knife from his vest and chased him down a breezeway. He eventually reached Mr. Bays, grabbed his torso, and stabbed him in the chest. This guy had so many options to not stab the man sleeping on the street. He had so many options to just walk away, and instead he continued escalating it. Jaden and the two others then fled to the Columbus Circle subway station, dumping the knife as they left. Officers and emergency medical workers responding to a 911 call found Mr. Bays bleeding on the ground 6 minutes later. He was taken to Bellevue Hospital, where he was pronounced dead just after midnight. The killing took place as violence among teenagers has grown in New York City in recent years, in many cases driven by online feuds or during events publicized on social media. The attack on Monday bears resemblance to an assault just days before in Binghamton, New York, in which 4 teenagers were charged in an attack on a 45-year-old homeless man, leaving him in critical condition. Yeah, okay, there's no pictures and no names released. Alright, so I know who done it. As in Jaden's case, the police in Binghamton said the assault had been inspired by a recent online trend of recording attacks against homeless people and drug users. TikTok did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The attack in Times Square this week, prosecutors said, was part of a crime spree that Jaden and his friends had been on in the area over the past few weeks. On the night of April 7th, prosecutors said Jaden and 3 other people began stealing from a souvenir store on West 40th Street. According to witness accounts and surveillance video reviewed by the police, when a store employee tried to stop the group, Jaden pulled out a knife, slashed the man on his right hand, and fled. Yeah, this doesn't sound like TikTok trends. This just sounds like this kid is a criminal and should be put away. A few weeks later, on Sunday at 3 a.m., Jaden and 3 others stole money and other items from a newsstand on 54th Street and 7th Avenue. Later that night, Jaden and a few others returned and a fight broke out, and Jaden slashed an employee in the chest. This guy is literally stabbing someone every other night. This is the... If we could just execute all of the, like, top 5% most violent criminals, we could live in a utopia. It could be beautiful with butterflies and rainbows and creating weird unicorn hybrids with DNA splicing, right? We could have that if only we had the gumption to punish fucking criminals. The next night, Jaden went to Times Square and began harassing Mr. Bays. In the criminal complaint charging Jaden, prosecutors said he was identified in part by 2 school safety officers who have interacted with him several times at Manhattan High School. Jaden was under the custody of the city's Administration for Children's Services, but he absconded in November, prosecutors said. In the courtroom on Thursday, as Jaden fidgeted in his seat, he looked back at a woman seated in a row behind him. Jeniet Torres, who said he lives with her, and he dates her daughter. He's a minor, Miss Torres called out into the courtroom at one point. Mom, Jaden called back to her, his voice breaking. You'll help me, right? No. That is a demon casting spells. Do not listen to his words. She nodded, tears running down her face. She's also a problem. What the fuck? Chat, I have covered this, like, David case for so fucking long, and anyone with working brain cells was like, how the fuck hasn't he been arrested already? He obviously fucking did it. Apparently Pokimane, like, invited this guy to her fucking house and, like, did streams with him? At least my bad judge of character only leads to gay men and not murderers of minors who are also pedophiles.
Now it just makes me, like, nervous and have, like, a pit in my stomach. I don't know if you guys have seen.
I don't think there's anything really wrong with that. I mean, like, whenever you find out that somebody that you were dealing with all the time was like a literal murderer, rapist, pedophile, I could see that making a lot of people super uncomfortable and them
yeah, if I found out that somebody I associated with was a pedophile, rapist, murderer, yeah, I'd be pretty like, what the fuck? How did I not see this coming? How did I not know? What warning signs was I fucking ignoring, right? Like, I'd be very concerned.
Having, like, a degree of, like, residual, like, very weird, unsettling feelings about that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, a lot of people need to wake up and realize that every single day you probably deal with and interact with people that if you were able to read their inner thoughts, you would be absolutely mortified. You need to realize that this is the way people really are. This is the way it actually is. I don't see a single thing wrong with this clip. I think that she's talking about the fact that, you know, it's traumatic for you to find out that a person that you were close with, that you allowed into your home, was a literal pedophile, murderer, rapist. Like that.
And then you also have to contend with the fact that, considering he's a pedophile, murderer, rapist, if you had been just a little younger, that could have been you. The only reason you're not dead in a bag in the back of a Tesla is because you were too old. That's crazy. I would also be like, what the fuck? What is happening, bro? He's the Thanos gauntlet of crimes.
That actually did it and had a dead body rotting in their car. Like, that's a crazy thing, because, like, the next thing that your brain does is you think, I wonder who else is like that, too. I actually don't think this is that bad. Now, to me, like, have I had people like that in my life? Lakari was just... that one did kind of bother me. I guess it kind of did, because, like... And he never got convicted of anything, right? It's not like it's David or this other guy went to jail for it. I don't know about the Lakaris. Honestly, I didn't look into it. I didn't want to. I like, you know, he was a friend of mine for years, right? And then like to have that happen, it's like, what the fuck? So yeah, I mean, it was sad. Miz, I don't want to talk about that because I'm in a lawsuit with him, obviously. One time that she expresses something that's actually very human and reasonable, everybody just assumes that she's being a virtue signaling bitch again. And that's it. She always tries so hard to have the right opinion and to say the right thing. And she even has like her own like PR speak voice. And whenever you notice it, it's hard to unsee.
That's funny.
And so now I don't think there's anything wrong with what she said. I don't. But, you know, it's the boy who cried wolf. Yep, and you do it too many times, and you're going to have people that just, as usual, don't like you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with him on that one. Pokimane actually kind of resembles the chick that David killed. Kind of. She has like a very similar hairstyle, very similar face shape. Like I would be having nightmares if I looked like someone that got murdered by someone I invited to my house. She's been so fake that it's hard for people to be empathetic. Sad but true. It's just like I can make jokes, but I wouldn't hold her having interacted with David over her head, right? There's like, how could you not know that he's kind of creepy would be the first question that comes to mind, but it's also like, she's not him, so she shouldn't have any kind of like lasting backlash for having interacted with him before, man.
The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
A transgender schizophrenic Utah person murdered parents because mom interfered with genital surgery. Mia Bailey, born as Colin Troy Bailey, shot both of his parents in the head. Colin said that he was scheduled to have his gender reassignment surgery, but claims that his mother put a stop to it. In the coldest statement ever, Colin said she, referring to the mother, can't say sorry to save her life, apparently. I had one thing going on, and she, the mother, took it away from me. She was a target because she betrayed me. Colin, I hate how he does that with the two names. Colin pled guilty to 2 counts of aggravated murder and aggravated assault, and was sentenced to 50 years in prison. Once again, premeditated, killed his parents. Why are we paying to keep him alive for 50 years? Execute him. Get him out of here.
You want to know the specifics, but yeah.
Was that hormone replacement
therapy? Yeah.
So being 28 years old now, at what age did you know that you wanted to transition?
I mean, since I was born, but the earliest I can remember is 2.
Did you have...
Oh, yes. I've wanted to transition since I was a toddler. Yes, I definitely believe you. Demon wearing a Friends t-shirt.
Did your parents know prior to that?
My parents knew, my mom knew for 3 years, since 2019.
Okay.
July.
Was that a big topic of contention between you and her?
It wasn't a huge topic, but she was more like, how...
Does this look like old YouTube Fred, or are you remembering wrong? Not only does it look like Fred, it sounds like Fred.
I put it, not very supportive. She was in shock, just didn't say anything. And then she's never supported since, and she kept calling me my dead name and a bunch of other stuff, so.
Mia says she was scheduled to have her long-awaited gender reassignment surgery the following month in July.
I think one big thing that needs to happen is all of the people who report on this stuff need to stop playing the pronoun game. This is a man. This is a man who murdered his parents because they would not let him indulge in his fetish. Call him a man. Use male pronouns. What are we doing?
July.
So they have a payment plan, and I had insurance. So they paid me about half of it at least. And I was going to do like a payment plan. Okay. But my dad was going to help me with a little bit of it, so.
According to Mia, her surgery was all set to go until her mother put a halt to it.
What led up to it was, I got a call from my social worker from the hospital. And, like apparently kind of broken HIPAA in a way. They shared the details at the hospital, but the worst one of all was my mother contacting them to say no to the surgery. And, wow.
So your mother contacted?
Bro's jaw's almost stronger than yours. He's got a neck of a fucking linebacker, dude. Come on. If you're a minor, it doesn't apply. Yeah. Surprised they don't stop going with the pronouns when this type of stuff happens. The only time I, end up using the fucking pronoun game is when I'm reading an article and it's written with the wrong pronoun, and I'm reading it, and it's so hard to, correct in real time while I'm reading. It's like, fuck, man, please. And then, obviously in legal documents, sometimes I have to do that. Unfortunately. He looks like the one Bud Light influencer. He kind of does.
The hospital?
Yep. And so I knew I could probably appeal it with just if that, but she wouldn't. To say I was very furious, and I asked her, I don't want to hear excuses. I want to hear an explanation, and I'm sorry, and I'll do something about it.
Okay.
Anyway, she can't say sorry to save her life, apparently. And
That's really creepy as well, because she can't say sorry to save her life paints the image in my mind of him, like, basically slowly murdering her and demanding she apologize while he's murdering her. No soul, there's nothing behind those eyes. I'm just sick of fucking this kind of shit, man. After shooting his parents, Colin went downstairs to speak to his brother. Colin went back upstairs to do one more round on Dad just in case. Colin discovered his mom was alive and choking, and so he shot her a second time. They had their chance. I don't regret it. I hate them.
Words, Mia says she went back upstairs.
go back upstairs and do one more round on Dad just in case. Make sure he's dead.
Before she left, Mia says she realized her mother was still alive.
I do remember actually coming up just in case because I heard her like bleeding quite a bit, like choking. Okay. So I went to shoot her again.
Okay. So do you remember that? Was that after you came back upstairs?
Yeah. It was Dad first, and
then you heard your mom that she was still
kind of alive. Yes.
The way that he's describing this, like, so matter-of-factly, like he just went to the grocery store and picked up some chips, is really fucking unnerving. And it's like, even I would struggle to, like, maintain the composure that these cops are having, right? Because they have to be composed. They can't get angry. They have to be, like, understanding, like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. We understand why you did that. Keep talking, right? Like, I would struggle in a situation like this.
Noise are still kind of alive, and then I shot her again.
What did you use to kill your parents then?
My gun.
Gun? Is it the same gun that you had when you surrendered to the police?
Yeah.
If you could go back to yesterday, would you change the outcome with your mom and dad?
I don't think there's any way of changing their minds, so no. If they change their mind, which I know they're not because they're so narcissistic.
That is really rich. That this person that is basically narcissism in a human shape would say that.
I mean, it would be played out completely differently. Their answer was on them. They had their chance. I didn't want to become the monster that they made me to be. I really wanted to be good. I really did.
Okay.
It's their fault. It's their fault I murdered them. If only they would have accepted my fetish.
But, like I said, that was a last resort, a last straw. I don't regret it. I hate them.
After her interview, Mia Bailey is
still a man. Should be the end of that sentence. U.S. indicts 2 foreign operators, an individual in the 2024 collapse of the Baltimore Key Bridge. The U.S. Justice Department said on Tuesday that a grand jury indicted 2 foreign operators and a shoreside superintendent in the March 2024 collision of the 84-foot cargo ship Dolly that destroyed Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge and killed 6 construction workers. Separately, Maryland State Attorney General Anthony Brown said that the state reached a final settlement of $2.25 billion with Grace Ocean Private Limited and Synergy Marine Pte Ltd, the owner and operator of the Dolly, ahead of the June 1st trial date. The settlement does not resolve Maryland's claims against the shipbuilder Hyundai Heavy Industries. The Justice Department said the collision caused at least $5 billion in damage and significant environmental damage. The National Transportation Safety Board last year found a single loose wire in the electrical system caused a breaker to unexpectedly open, launching a sequence of events that led to 2 vessel blackouts and a loss of propulsion in steering. I have a question. If it caused at least $5 billion in damages, why are they only getting $2.25 billion in the settlement? Where's the other billions gonna come from, buddy? The Dolly's operators, Synergy Marine Pte Ltd, based in Singapore, and Synergy Maritime Pte Ltd, based in Chennai, India, along with Radha Krishnan Karthik Nair, 47, an Indian national who worked for both firms as the technical superintendent for the Dolly, are charged with conspiracy, willfully failing to immediately inform the U.S. Coast Guard of a known hazardous condition, obstruction of an agency proceeding, and false statements. And I don't remember if we knew that the crew on this ship was Indian when this happened, but it's kind of funny how when this happened, we didn't have Indians killing people all over the country through traffic accidents, And so now, reading that it was an Indian crew and an Indian man getting indicted, it all makes so much sense. It makes so much sense that this happened. It's also tiresome. Is that intact? That's a great question. Sar, do not redeem the $5 billion wire. Prosecutors said Nair is believed to be in India. The two Synergy companies said in a statement they would defend themselves against the charges, saying the NTSB had determined the cause was a defect outside of Synergy Marine's control. They added they were deeply disappointed in the criminal charges, suggesting the NTSB and other evidence clearly refutes any allegations of wrongdoing by the Dali crew. Synergy Marine added it was troubled the Justice Department has kept the Dali crew members in the U.S. for over 2 years, despite evidence that their actions were timely and reasonable under the circumstances. The three were charged with conspiracy to defraud the U.S. and with causing the death of 6 construction workers on the bridge, among other charges including providing false statements and documents to the NTSB. That's crazy. They're charged with providing both false statements and false documents. So they lied in writing as well, and they're still trying to like fucking jugad themselves until we didn't do nothing. The two Synergy corporations are also charged with violations of the Clean Water Act, Oil Pollution Act, and Refuse Act for the discharge of pollutants into the Patapsco River. Just India things. According to the indictment, the Dali lost power twice in a 4-minute span as it was leaving the port of Baltimore, causing it to crash into the Key Bridge. The Justice Department said the defendants are accused of relying on a flushing pump to supply fuel to 2 of the Dali's 4 generators. But the flushing pump was not designed to automatically restart following a blackout, and the Dali's generators could not operate without a fuel supply. The indictment alleged that if the Dali was using proper fuel supply pumps, the vessel would have regained power in time to safely navigate under the bridge. Seeing this article now with the indictments and shit, so much makes sense. It just all makes sense.